Toprak Razgatlioglu is a 3-time World Superbike champion. He dominated that series for years, with a riding style so aggressive and so distinctive that most people considered him one of the most spectacular motorcycle racers on the planet. He won championships on a Yamaha. He became one of the most recognizable names in motorcycle racing without ever having raced in MotoGP. And then, at the end of 2025, he made the move the entire paddock had been anticipating. He crossed over to the Premier class, joining Pramac Yamaha for 2026. After 3 rounds, he has 1 championship point. He is 20th in the standings. His best race result is 15th. He finished 25.5 seconds behind the race winner at COTA, and he described his own motorcycle, after 12 or 14 laps of a Grand Prix, as feeling like a Honda Goldwing, not a racing metaphor, an actual touring bike built for comfort. That is where Toprak Razgatlioglu finds himself 3 rounds into his MotoGP career, and the story of how one of the most talented motorcycle racers in the world arrived at this point is more complicated and more revealing than the results suggest. I'm Seb, owner of this channel. MotoGP is my obsession, and every script you hear is written and researched by me. If you feel the same way, hit subscribe, and let's enjoy this sport together. The problems began before the season even started. In pre-season testing at Sepang, Razgatlioglu struggled significantly. The Yamaha V4 M1 is a fundamentally different machine to the World SBK bike he spent years mastering, and the first evidence of that difference was uncomfortable. He could only outpace fellow rookie Diogo Moreira and the official test riders in the early sessions. He described himself as sad when he returned to the box, unable to find lap times despite trying hard. In the final pre-season test in Buriram, things were so difficult on his long run that he abandoned the race simulation entirely because he didn't like the bike's setup. Part of the problem was identified early by Jorge Lorenzo. Watching trackside as a performance coach, Lorenzo noticed Razgatlioglu was trying to ride the MotoGP prototype the way he rides a World SBK machine. It's difficult for Toprak because he spent all his life on street bikes, which are completely different to a MotoGP. A prototype bike is super stiff and needs to carry a lot of corner speed. He's trying to ride, as I see in the corners, like a superbike, braking so hard, moving the bike, making a V-line, stop and go. Super extreme. That observation cuts to the heart of the issue. Razgatlioglu's greatest strength in World SBK was arriving at corners with extreme aggression, braking impossibly late, and pivoting the bike on its front wheel. That technique does not translate to a MotoGP prototype that requires smooth corner speed and progressive weight transfer, rather than explosive direction changes. Yamaha managing director Paulo Pavesio confirmed this after Thailand. During the winter, he tried, if I can say it like this, to turn the MotoGP into a superbike, to feel comfortable. Then he understood that a MotoGP is a MotoGP, and there are things he should not compromise. Pavesio also noted that his benchmark was simply matching the other Yamaha riders. I'm happy because he could ride very close to the other Yamaha riders, which for him is the benchmark. The damning part of that statement is that the Yamaha riders themselves are occupying the back positions of the classification. Being close to the other Yamahas, when all 4 Yamahas are at the very rear of the field, is not a competitive reference point for a 3-time world champion. The specific mechanical problems Razgatlioglu has described across 3 rounds paint a consistent picture. Engine braking is the most persistent issue. He explained the problem in detail after COTA practice when he was left very angry at missing the top 10. I am always making a mistake in corners 11 and 12 because the bike is not stopping there. I don't know why. We are trying to understand why the bike is not stopping. At corner 12, after the back straight, the front tire was always locking on the brake. This is very strange. He also described the interaction between the engine braking and the rear tire. I use the rear brake, but sometimes it is not enough. If I feel less engine braking, the rear is pushing the front. I use the rear brake, but it is not working because there is too much grip here, and the rear is just pushing. Why am I coming close to crashing? That is not the description of a rider who is riding badly. That is a rider fighting a machine that is not responding the way it should. And then, as the race goes on, something else happens that he described after COTA in what has become the defining quote of his MotoGP season so far. After 12 or 14 laps, the bike feels like a Goldwing. It becomes heavy, a Honda Goldwing. He is comparing his MotoGP race machine, in the closing stages of a Grand Prix, to a comfort cruiser. That is a man telling you in the most vivid language he can find that the physical demands of riding the Yamaha V4 M1 are exhausting him in a way he has never experienced before, and that by the time the race reaches its critical final phase, he simply does not have the physical relationship with the bike he needs to push. The COTA race confirmed all of this in the numbers. He started 17th, spent most of the race trying to make progress, and crossed the line 15th for his first MotoGP championship point. He was faster than Quartararo in the closing laps thanks to superior tyre management, a strength carried over from World SBK. But the gap to race winner Bezzecchi was 25.5 seconds. He processed the milestone with full awareness of how far he still has to go. I'm not really happy. Okay, I'm the first Yamaha, but this doesn't change, because we lose a lot, 25 seconds. We've done a good job at Yamaha, but with such a large gap, it's unacceptable. We must improve significantly. What makes that gap even more sobering is that Bezzecchi and Aprilia are winning with the best package on the grid. Razgatlioglu is not 25 seconds slower than an average field. He is 25 seconds slower than the most dominant bike in MotoGP right now, while riding the slowest one. From outside the garage, the concern is already being raised about what this situation does to a rider of his caliber over time. Marco Melandri, the former MotoGP race winner, was blunt. His positive strengths and motivation will start to fade. It's impossible to stay motivated week after week when you're fighting in the back positions. That warning reflects a broader truth about elite athletes when they cannot compete. Razgatlioglu has spent years winning championships and podiums. He has been a frontrunner in every series he has contested. Fighting for points at the back of a field is something he has simply never experienced at this intensity or for this duration. Razgatlioglu himself has been admirably transparent. He has not hidden his frustration or dressed it up in diplomatic language. He has been honest about the gap and honest about the timeline uncertainty for Yamaha's improvement. Yamaha is pushing so hard to improve more. We will see when we improve a lot. Maybe at the end of the year, I don't know, maybe in the middle, maybe next year, but we will see. That is not the answer of a man who has been given a clear development roadmap. That is the answer of a man who genuinely does not know when the bike he is riding will be fast enough to let him show what he can do. The tragic irony of his situation is that the qualities that make him exceptional in World SBK, the aggression, the extreme braking, the physical commitment to direction changes, are the exact qualities creating his biggest problems in MotoGP. He is not struggling because he lacks talent or speed. He is struggling because the talent he has developed over a decade was built for a different kind of machine, and the machine he has now requires a fundamentally different approach that takes time to absorb. He has already used Yamaha's concession status to participate in an additional private test at Jerez, giving him mileage the team desperately needs before the European season begins. The picture right now is one of a remarkable talent in an uncomfortable transition on a struggling machine in his first season in the hardest motorcycle racing championship in the world. Whether Jerez provides the step forward both Razgatlioglu and Yamaha need, or whether the first half of this season becomes an extended exercise in patience and survival, will define the next chapter of a story the entire MotoGP world is watching, with a mixture of sympathy and fascination. Can Toprak Razgatlioglu find the riding adjustments he needs to unlock the Yamaha M1 before this season becomes too demoralizing to recover from? Does Yamaha's development program produce a meaningful step in performance at Jerez or in the European rounds? Or is the gap to the front too large to close within a single season? And is there a version of this story where one of the greatest superbike riders in history becomes a genuine MotoGP competitor? Or did he arrive in the Premier class at exactly the wrong moment, on exactly the wrong machine? Drop your predictions in the comments, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button and subscribe for more MotoGP news. I'll catch you in the next one.